Mastercast Radio.
Yes, welcome back to Mastercast Radio. This is part 2 of my 2-part interview with Jane Whittaker. If you haven't seen part 1, I suggest you do so before listening to this, but if you have already, let's carry on. So, MGM, how did that happen?
I started to build something of a name for myself with movie franchises. A certain Alien and a Predator we just mentioned. And I think things were winding up at Atari, that people moving on from the company, and the rights were in discussion with Hasbro and all this sort of stuff. So it was everything was closing down basically, and I got an offer from the senior vice president at MGM. Would I like to go and work there with their interactive division? And I thought, hey, LA, sunshine, I'll do it. And it was incredible fun. I went down there, I interviewed, I really liked the people. I liked the projects they were doing. And then when they say to me, of course, we own the James Bond franchise, my developer eyes got really excited. There was a twinkle in my eye at the thought of a James Bond game. And I accepted and became director of product development initially for MGM in Santa Monica, and that's how that started.
Of course, with your time there, you got to work on GoldenEye 007.
Absolutely right, and other Bond games too, and lots of Bond spin-offs. But basically, we had the entire rights, of course, to the MGM back catalogue. And there was discussion at MGM. It was 96, 97 or something. Yeah, you guys will probably know the dates better than me for GoldenEye. And they said, well, what should we do with our big new franchise? Because we'd agreed to do a joint project with Nintendo. And for the N64. And Nintendo said, well, what should we do? And the discussion at MGM was, said, well, we've got Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or Bond. And I'm thinking, well, there's no real comparison there, is there? As much as I like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I like Dick Van Dyke, but he wasn't. Dick Van Dyke, the game wasn't going to happen, not in my opinion. Sorry, Dick, if you're ever listening. As much as I love the movie. And so we obviously went for the Bond franchise, which is, I then got in discussions of trying to convince Nintendo that James Bond really was what you wanted on the N64 alongside Mario. Because, of course, Nintendo, quite rightly, have been very family-friendly, very careful with the quality, the genre, and everything they put out on their machines. They're very, very strict and careful, and quite rightly so, because that's why Nintendo has a trademark for quality. So I had a bit of a hard tell, saying, you know what, we'll do GoldenEye. You'll repel here and there. You shoot people in the head. It'd be great. And Nintendo like, okay.
I won't lie. Like Nintendo, I wasn't really big on Nintendo consoles for the longest time. Like NES and Super NES really didn't appeal to me. But when Nintendo 64 came around, I mean, sure, I kind of got sucked into Mario 64. That was the first Mario game I saw that made me go, wow, this is amazing. It's like a fully interactive cartoon, and it's such a wide open world. But then when I found out it was not only getting GoldenEye, but it was also getting like Shadows of the Empire. Like GoldenEye was the first Bond film I saw in a theater. Like I had seen the Dalton movies on VHS and a couple of the Connerys, but that was really it. So Pierce Brosnan for me is like my Bond, and GoldenEye was the first movie I saw, and I remember being irritated that they didn't make action figures for that, but still.
Blame me.
Yeah, like I still like action figures. I mean, I'm not as crazy about them now as I was then, but I was like, I want a James Bond action figure. Where's Pierce Brosnan? Where's Xenia Onatopp? Just. But no, I saw the video game happening, and I just saw some of the early screens, and I'm like, ooh, that looks nice. I need to see this game. And the thought at that time, playing it with my mom and my brother, because we would do multiplayer games all the time. And that was, oh shit, that looks amazing. The Nintendo 64 has to happen. And And GoldenEye did not disappoint. I've actually played that with my girlfriend quite a bit. She loves GoldenEye. So,
Do you know why I think it's a success? There's two reasons for that. The first was we pushed, including myself, and I wasn't the only one at MGM, so I'm not going to take sole credit, but as part of that business group, but we pushed for it to be very cinematic. I wanted to take that cinematic feel that we'd done in AVP and bring it to a Bond game. I didn't want it to be a license where the only relationship to the movie was the picture on the box.
right.
I'd always hated that over the years, where I always felt many times buyers were getting ripped off by looking at a pretty picture on the box on their favorite movie, then the game bore no relationship.
Right.
I think the industry's been lazy and done that too many times. I didn't want to do that. My take on it was it has to be GoldenEye. It has to be cinematic. It has to be compelling. It has to be Pierce Brosnan. You have to feel that this is GoldenEye, and I think that helped a great deal. And Nintendo bought into that whole cinematic feel. It's not about killing people. It's about being James Bond. If that game had been about killing people, it wouldn't have been so much fun. What it is, it allows you to have this fantasy of I am James Bond and I am in GoldenEye. And that to me was a selling point. And the second part was the lead team who were chosen to work on it, Rare, who I'd known from Spectrum and Commodore 64 days. The team at Rare were at the time, in my belief, the best team in the world to deliver that code in connection with me and the MGM people. So I think we just scored a couple of home runs on both points there.
Oh, I totally agree. And really, like going back to your first point, I think that was one of the best things about it because, what you can't label GoldenEye like a Doom clone. It had, and really as a single player experience, it's great because it does incorporate that stealth mechanic. And doing that, it does make you feel like James Bond. And being a kind of a sucker for details. Like, well, I had seen that movie so many times, and that was one of the movies we bought the VHS. We didn't record it off of Showtime. We bought the tape, and it was like I'm looking at all the sets, and I was as a kid, I would always draw scenes from movies. That was a big thing for me, and just soaking in all that detail. And when you see that first level, even coming out of the air duct and shooting the guy on the toilet, it's like, oh my god, that is the bathroom. That's the restroom in the movie. And being able to go through, like, this is all the stuff we don't get to see in the movie, and I thought that was great. Yeah,
exactly. It's like that alternate take, but still the movie.
Yeah, from what I remember reading at one point, I forget when this was. I think it was in a magazine, but you actually were able to use like layouts from the sets and use that toward the game design for the levels.
That's right, and that is so fantastic because, of course, when you're MGM, you have access to the MGM soundstage. You have access to all the props. You have access to everything. Not just a paper script or a DVD. You have access to go right there to the guys who designed the sets and say, what was this set like, and what does this do, and and actually go to Pinewood Studios and see this stuff.
And I can totally appreciate, like, I think it's one thing. I know some people's opinions have changed a little bit about GoldenEye. Like, people have pointed out, it's one of those games that hasn't aged as well. It's still a great game, and I'm like, I still play that to this day. I'll take GoldenEye over Call of Duty any day of the week. It's like Call of Duty really has no appeal to me, but I can still go back to GoldenEye and still feel like I'm playing the movie, like I'm in the movie, and I'll still find new things to explore, playing around with the AI and trying out new weapons, and it's still fun, and I'm still trying to play the harder modes because I feel that's where a lot of the replay value comes back, and trying to unlock the extra features fair and square, not just putting in a button combination. So. Yeah. But it's still a game I go back to regularly. I've never had any issues with the control. I know a lot of people will bitch about that now, and just the Nintendo 64 controller in general. But I've never had an issue with that. And for me, I think GoldenEye, like Alien vs. Predator, is one of those games that has aged remarkably well. And I think it's one of those things like, I don't know if you saw it. They tried to kind of remake GoldenEye, except they had like Daniel Craig come in and, they updated it.
Yes. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, it's not a bad game, but it doesn't have that sense of immersion that the original GoldenEye had with its more quote dated graphics. Quote, I'm like, yeah, that game is still more immersive to me than this new one that you have with all the bells and whistles afforded by today's technology. So,
Shall I tell you another little anecdote here on GoldenEye
oh please.
that made me really proud. A couple of months ago, you guys probably remember Tony Blair, who was the British Prime Minister for a long, long time.
Oh yes.
Tony Blair's son, Ewan, telephoned me, and he said, I wanted to tell you something. He said, when Dad had all these world leaders at 10 Downing Street, George Bush and all the rest of it, he said, I went upstairs and played AVP in GoldenEye. He said, that's what I did. He said, when doing all these summits, he said, I went and played your games, and I wanted to thank you. He said, I still play GoldenEye.
Like best compliment ever.
So you got the Obamas downstairs and George Bush and the rest of it, and there he is sat upstairs at 10 Downing Street in government buildings playing GoldenEye. Probably why the real leader of MI6 was probably talking with his dad.
Oh God,
So it's just nice to be so fondly remembered that that people of that stature take the time to find me and contact me and telephone me to say how much they've enjoyed it as part of their childhood.
I would have been a mop. Like if I had been you, I just got that phone call. I'd be like, oh my God, what? Really? That's kind of how I felt when you complimented me for the Alien versus Predator video.
It was fantastic. I genuinely loved it.
Well, that's very sweet, but it's not often, the coder, one of the driving forces of the game will come down and say, like, I really liked your video. I'm like, really? Are you really Jane?
You called it as it was. You didn't hide the warts. You saw the good points. You saw the bad points. I thought it was really honest and really positive and optimistic about the game. But you didn't. I've noticed in all your videos you don't hide away from saying, I don't like this because. And so I felt it was really balanced and really honest and really compelling delivery.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's like I make videos, like the whole reason I tackle videos the way I do, don't get me wrong, I can be sarcastic and funny and I'll crack my jokes. But at the same time, that's just my personality. Ultimately, I'm making videos for people like me where, yeah, we have our 9-to-5 job. And this is our hobby. This is something that we still have a lot of passion for. And I kind of want people to see why it's great, why you may not like it. And I'll try and be straight with people and just say, like, look, this may not be for everybody. And I get that Alien versus Predator won't be for everybody. Like, they just have this mind of what they expect from a first-person game, and they expect it to be a shooter. I'm like, don't go into it expecting a shooter. Go into it expecting a horror game. And if you go into that, like, sure, you're going to shoot things, and it's going to be awesome. But, that's not the driving force of the game. It's trying to survive and escape. That's the push. And, yeah, sure, the hit detection can be a little dodgy from time to time, which I find amusing because, like, I was curious to see what other people had to say about it. I finally decided to watch some videos and see. And people made it seem like you couldn't hit anything. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's not that bad, but yes, I agree. But it's not that bad.
Yeah, well, one guy in particular, I'm not going to say, but I do watch his videos, and typically I like him, especially when he reviews role-playing games. But he tried playing it with his friend, and he's just like, I can't hit anything. It just goes right through. I'm like, I've put in a lot of hours on Alien versus Predator. It is not that common to experience. And
there's actually limitations of processor time. What happened was sometimes the DSPs got out of sync with the 68,000, and when it was actually checking for timing, unfortunately when the frame rate drops, the projectile had already passed through when it did the test. If you see what I mean, so it missed the sync of when the projectile was in contact with the surface because So suddenly, when there's a sudden frame rate drop, which we couldn't avoid for lots of reasons, by the time we got around to checking, the projectile had already moved on.
Ah, okay. Well, that's actually cool to find out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons now too why I like this show, because now I can every now and then I can actually get to talk to somebody who worked on it, and I can ask questions, be like, "How? Why does it do that?" Or
Yeah.
what inspired you to do this? Like, not to get
Lunacy.
so. Well,
I mean, there were bugs in there, and I apologise if it's messed people's gameplay up, but we did the best we could, and it's going to happen in any project. I remember just after release, someone said it's really great, and especially when the alien queen comes out of the room and chases you down the corridor. I thought, no, it's not supposed to do.
That's actually not a bad idea, though. I mean, it's almost like Aliens when it chases after Ripley.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, I should say this was fully intended, guys. This was a special feature.
That would have made for like a great difficulty mode, like Queen Survival. Like, what's that about?
Yeah, there's a sub game right there.
Oh man!
And you know what? Another anecdote is I'm absolutely the worst at playing it because I'm watching for code events and I end up getting killed because I'm too busy being technical while I watch my own game. I got invited to Disney World, the Epcot Center,
Ooh.
and they have like what I call like an exhibition center inside that. Like the big golf ball thing.
Yes.
They have like an exhibition rooms in that part of Epcot, and Disney actually did an exhibition of my work, and I got invited by Disney to go and launch my exhibition, which was scary and fun. And I walked in there, and they had members of the public and the CNN and all sorts of people there for filming, and there's this little boy playing AVP. And what these reporters said, go and take turns, play with him. It'd be great footage. And he said, but don't tell him you wrote the code. You're just another visitor. Don't frighten this poor lad. So I went and was playing with this guy, and it was about 10, and alternating handing the controller between us, and he thrashed me. I mean, he was so better than me, and I'm like, okay. I was so nervous, and all the cameras were there. And I walked back, and there's a senior VP from Disney and CNN and all these people. And this guy from Disney said to me, he said, that was so smart PR, letting him win. I'm like, good answer.
Oh my god. Yeah, oh.
They must have set up like 10 copies of the game in this one room at Epcot, and some of my previous games too. It's like everywhere you turn, there was screeching aliens on big screens. It was just quite an experience to be invited to go and launch that.
Oh man, that. What I would give to have that kind of experience, because it sounds amazing. It's
And they took me to a shuttle launch too, so the geek in me loved that. I mean, it's so kind of Disney. They fed and watered me for a whole week and took me to a shuttle launch and gave me the grand tour of Florida. So gaming's been good to me, Andrew.
oh, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm still kind of geeking out a little bit. It's I'm trying to be somewhat professional, even though I'm not remotely professional. But actually, that reminds me. Speaking of like games that you're really proud of, I have to talk about this because I am incredibly curious because my knowledge is very limited. I kind of take a lot of information I find online with a grain of salt these days.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I've seen all sorts of people mention sorts of things about my games that even I didn't know.
Well, it still kills me when I say something in a video and I come to find out it's not true. And I'm like, oh, great. Now it's part of the video. And I'll just have to chalk that up to, Mastercast TV's top 5 fuck-ups. And I'll just have to go back and be like, sorry, I screwed up. Don't believe what I said. I'm already kicking myself for the Spies in the Night video. Like, I feel like a tremendous idiot. Because here's the thing. I played. Have you seen Spies in the Night for Atari
I
2600?
haven't. Tell me more.
Oh, well,
Tell me more.
it's a 2600 game programmed by Jared Gray West, and I wanted to do a big Atari Age special, so I bought a bunch of games. And one of them was Spies in the Night. It has like a film noir aesthetic. It's black and white. And the object of the game is to get your spy to the other end of this stage. And that's signified, it doesn't scroll, it does screens. So once you get from the left to the right, the lighthouse in the background gets closer and closer to the left. It starts at the right, gets closer and closer to the left as you go right. So once you get to the end, you hit a button and you destroy the lighthouse. Now, the trick to it is that you have to hide behind randomly generated walls. You have to stay out of sight of the lighthouse. If you get caught in its light, you're shot down by a sniper. And
Got you.
oh yeah, it's very much a Nolan's Law game where it's very easy to pick up but hard to put down. It's easy to learn but difficult to master.
Instantly addictive.
Oh yeah, it's very addictive. I played that. It's definitely, I did not exaggerate in my video when I say it's one of those games that you pick up thinking, oh, I'll get in a quick game before I have to do my chores. But then you realize you've put your chores on hold for 2 hours and you've just been trying to get the high score on this game.
And you've lost 40 pounds in weight because you've been playing it for 2 weeks and didn't realise.
Yeah. Oh man, my hand hurt so much after playing that game because I'm using a righteous 2600 controller. It's a flashback, so the joystick isn't as stiff, but
Yeah.
but still it's kind of awkward to hold when compared to a regular controller. But the thing is, what I didn't realize in playing it, if you adjust the left difficulty switch, you can make the game harder by having a gun appear once you've taken out the first lighthouse. It's a score attack game. It doesn't end. You just keep going through all these lighthouses, and it gets progressively further away, or farther away, excuse me. And they keep tacking on time, but it's just barely enough. And the walls that you can hide behind get more and more sparse. So the thing is that I didn't realize if you hit the difficulty switch, you can add a gun. There will be a gun that will appear and try and shoot you as you're trying to run across. And I completely...
That sounds like it's going to get really hard really quick.
I have to admit, it did add a little more challenge to it, but I had fun with it. I didn't feel it was remotely unfair. But I hate myself already because, like, here I just finished that, and I discovered it because Erica had seen the cover, and she likes film noir a lot. And I'm like, oh, well, here, you want to try it? And she's like, that's going to make me tense. I'm not going to... I'm like, come on, just try it, just try it. And
You will.
Yeah, come on, baby, you'll love it. It's cool. So, and she tried it, and I'm like, I forgot I had adjusted the difficulty switch. I'm like, there's a gun? And I'm like, you idiot, you did not thoroughly.
No.
As much time as I put in on that game, I completely forgot to check the difficulty switch, and I screwed up. So now I feel like a complete moron. So, yup. But
Welcome to life.
yeah, no, I mean, it's not as bad as like when I reviewed The Crow City of Angels, and that game is very difficult to play, but I didn't realize that run and grab are the same button. And here I was bitching about
Shall I match
yeah.
idiot stupidity to show you my worst I ever did in the industry and make you feel better?
Oh, okay.
You remember the Atari ST?
Yeah.
There was they brought out an extended version, the Atari STE.
Yes.
Which had the blitter chip and all the rest of it. Which I was heavily involved with that. And there was the press launch for that came about, but they only had one machine built for the press launch. It was just a prototype. And guess who tripped on the stairs carrying it to the press launch and broke it into thousands of pieces?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh man, my heart just sank just thinking about that.
Yeah. Delay this launch.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the Atari ST. I was carrying it and I slipped and there Yeah, the ST went one way and I went the other, and down a fire escape.
Oh man, you're like maybe if I just get to the car now, it won't press.
Exactly. And anyone got a bit of glue, they won't notice.
Or you just go in there and you completely like fuck about. Just say like, oh no, we weren't supposed to be showing you the STE, not at all.
We're showing you the components.
Yes. I'm here to showcase the chips. Just check this out.
Here's half of one, here's half of the other. So I just think that to make you feel better. And my reputation has now gone into tatters as we go on in this interview.
I disagree. If anything, somebody once said to me, I forget what it was precisely, but it was like you learn more through failure than you do from success.
Oh, you do. You definitely do. I think every programmer who's ever written a piece of code has seen that where we go over and over trying to make things work.
I go through similar things when I make short films because I'll just realize, oh, well, good going, Andy. You shot off axis, so now they're both looking right when one should be looking right, the other one's looking left. Now, how are you going to fix that, smart guy?
Deal with that,
yeah. But yeah, I digress. I apologize, but going back for a moment, but yeah, I question a lot of things I find on the internet, and particularly like knowing that you got to work with 3DO on the M2.
Yeah.
Designing
and every version of the M2.
Oh my. Just you actually got to design the launch game for it, Power Crystal.
That's right. Yeah.
So how did that come about?
It was script and code and the whole thing. Well, the team at 3DO at the time, including Trip Hawkins, the founder of EA, who went on to found 3DO.
Right.
Was a fan of some of my games. I've known him. Trip and I had known each other for years and years. Right back to when EA was founded with Mule. The first launch game, and D-Pains and all these things. When EA was 4 guys, it was Trip and various other people, and just 4 of them. And I'd known Trip for years. We'd always wanted to do a project together. When you're just always busy and it never sort of happens. The stars aligned with the 3DO project, and Trip said AVP was wonderful. I loved it, and come and do a game for the M2. I said, "What's the M2?" I thought it was like a Toyota sports car or something. And he was like, "No, it's our new 3DO console." I'm like, "What new 3DO console?" I said, "Well, that's the point. We haven't told anybody." And I'm like, "Okay." And there's Trip and Joe Ybarra. You guys who into the retro scene probably know Joe Ybarra is one of the founders of EA, and I think he was a coder of the first game with Dave Maynard. It was also at 3DO. So 3 of the 4 founders of EA were at 3DO at that time. And I sat with them in a room in San Francisco.
Oh, are you still there?
Panasonic. You're gonna love it. And they showed me the demonstration of the hardware. There was no operating system at that time. There was next to nothing. But they were right. I loved it. And then Trip said to me, go and do a big, meaty launch game. And I'm like, how about an RPG? Because, you've got a partnership with Panasonic. RPGs do great in Asia. People like them in Europe and the USA. That seems a good fit for grabbing as many people as possible. So that's why Power Crystal was born. I signed a contract very rapidly, within days, with Trip, and there's some fantastic people there, such as Scott Walker. If Scott listens, I miss you, Scott. You're great. He was a producer. We had some amazing people. You can probably tell from what I'm saying. I've worked with a lot of good people over the years, Andrew. I've worked with some bad ones, but I've worked with a lot of good ones. They put this team together to work around Power Crystal with me. It's absolutely amazing. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this, and I signed the contract. And incidentally, I got a lovely little note. I'm digressing to my anecdotes again. I sent a note to Trip I sent a fax to Trip, a fax in those days. But can I tell people now that I'm working on a 3DO M2 game, and I'll have to send you a copy of this. Maybe you could stick it somewhere on your stuff on the video for this. And it was like, tell the world. he just wrote this back in pen over my fax and just faxed it straight back at me within 5 minutes. And that's how the interview started happening for Powcris. It was tell the world. And I've still got that letter from Trip Hawkins, the founder of EA. I kept that as part of my personal memorabilia. Maybe we could get that scanned and put up on your YouTube screen, Andrew.
Oh, totally.
And that's one of the key moments in Power Crystal's history. Tell the world. I loved it. So I went away and with friends of mine and created a team in the UK to write Power Crystal. I sat down. I wrote a really complex RPG with a team that I put around me, and that's how Power Crystal came to be. And it was reviewed by many people. People say it was a tech demo. It wasn't. We actually had a finished game in the end, and we did reviews for Edge magazine and the online people and Game Pro in the USA, and it was a fantastic game. I loved it. I just really loved it. I like RPGs, and it was actually one of the review comments was, "This is a Zelda killer." And don't take my word for it. You guys can Google it, and you can see some of these websites who talk about it saying that. So I was really pumped for this game. And it was complex. People say it was like the first version of World of Warcraft. And in fact, I got involved with Blizzard later because of it, but that's another story. And we got it all ready to go and all the rest of it, and we went through 3 or 4 different iterations of the M2 machine. And had a chap called Andy Noble, who was the lead artist, one of the best artists I've ever worked with. And we put this thing together, ready to go. We spent 2 years on it, so it wasn't a tech demo. It was 2 years of work with the team of about 15, with me leading the team and leading the design. I led the design and I led the code, because you can't keep me away from coding no matter what. So I led the design and led the code with these guys, and Andy led the art, and we did what I think was a fantastic job, and it's for you guys to judge. But bear in mind now when you look back to be kind to me, because it's 30 years ago. And we were ready to go, and I got a phone call from 3DO saying, "Well, your game's ready to ship. Slight bit of bad news is we're not shipping the console." And it was literally a phone call. We had no idea it was coming. Absolutely no clue at all. It was literally I got a phone call saying there's been some business developments with Panasonic. Various people have got involved, blah blah blah, and we thank you for your game. You still own your game, but you do not see it on the shelves now because we're not shipping the console. They pulled the console with numerous games in development, and ours was one of those. We had no prior warning or anything. It was purely a financial decision at 3DO with the deals falling through with stuff they're doing with Panasonic.
Oh God!
Gutting, really.
That's heartbreaking to put that kind of effort into something, only to see that the platform it's supposed to be coming out for just went. We're not going to do that now.
Yeah, it's 2 years of my life.
Oh man! Oh.
And in my 37-year career or something, I've only ever worked on 2 games that haven't shipped, and that was one of them.
What was the other one?
The other one was a game called My Indestructible Super Team at Bullfrog.
Yeah.
So there you are.
Wow. I mean, how do you recover from something like that? Like just emotionally.
You dust yourself down and you move to the best. I mean, a quick plug, if I may, is that we're actually, because it's my game, we're looking to. We are not looking. We have started rebuilding it for modern tech. A whole new game set in that universe. So it's a Power Crystal universe. But obviously it's not the same game. It's a new RPG, but using the same universe and characters. The reason for that is that I still have all the spec and the quests and the paper, and there's something like 50,000 sheets of paper pre-planning for that game. I kid you not. I can send you the photo for the YouTube of me at the desk with just a fraction of the paperwork that we had, and there was that much scripting and concept art It's 50,000 sheets of paper.
Oh,
So I was asked at Christmas from one of the big publishers. I can't mention who yet. Would you mind creating a whole new Power Crystal, because we'd like to see it, and that's actually in production right now with my team Blue Sock Studio. So that's actually happening right now. But that's a digression. But yeah, so Power Crystal's actually come back round into my life again in the last 3 or 4 months. But yeah, it was good. It was gutting. It really was. How do you walk into the office and say, "I've just had this call, guys"? You've got a whole dev team sat there, maps all over the floor and people doing artwork and everything in front of you. Say, well, "Sorry, guys, this isn't going anywhere." And we were stuck. So it wasn't a PC game. It wasn't a game that could go anywhere else, because it was written in specific PowerPC assembly language, and with the custom chips for the 3DO, the whole thing was M2 specific. So we'd have to start again to take it to another platform. And it was literally, we can't even port this in 5 minutes anywhere else. It's an M2 game, and we were stuffed. We were totally stuffed.
No, that just hurts. that hurts so much. I didn't even do the work, and I'm just like, ow. I'm like, you guys need a hug. Just like...
Thank you. Andy Noble was one of the best artists in the industry as well. So we had some incredible people on that project. It was playable. People could play it. It worked. It did what it was supposed to do. I mean, so when you read this, it was a minor tech demo. No, it wasn't. We did a tech demo as proof of concept before we got the contract. They gave us a 3DO to mess around with to prove that we could do it, And then they went into full contract. So we had a full team in a dedicated. The whole company was just building Power Crystal, and like, boom, there you go.
Oh.
So it was, and we disbanded the team, and everybody went their separate ways, because we were fully funded by 3DO. We were effectively a subsidiary of 3DO. It wasn't my business. It was 3DO that built this group. I'd put the people together. I'd done the code. I'd done the art. But every cent came from 3DO, even down to the office rent.
My goodness gracious!
A painful part of life, that one.
Oh,
but I'm proud of the game. I'm proud to be revisiting it now. We'll send stuff to you as and when, Andrew, to share with the viewers. But it was a very hard time. I think it's, for a developer to be told your game's canned, it is one thing, but to be told your game's great, it's had the best reviews you're ever going to have. It had 100% reviews, 100%, first ever game that did in the mainstream press, and then to be told, well, sorry, we're pulling the reviews, we're putting a do not distribute notice, which is why you didn't find a lot about it, because obviously they didn't 3DO didn't really want everyone discussing the fact that there's business issues, so all the magazines were stamped down. It was like a do not discuss notice, which is why there isn't a lot there about Power Crystal, and we just shut the office down the week after, as quick as that. Because it was literally 3DO funded.
Oh my, that's man, I'm having to ride around in my seat just listening to this. But
it's not an unusual story to lose a game in the industry. It happens, unfortunately. But the unusual bit is I've never known it where you have a game finished and reviewed so well, but they decide to kill the platform.
Yeah, didn't you say it even had like a box instructions?
Yeah, manual, the whole lot,
oh man, I mean, to have some, I mean, that is like done. It's ready to go. It's
yeah. It was over 2 years of work with a fully staffed team. It was like a team of 15 to 20 or something, and that and at that point in the 90s, a team of 15 and 20 was a major team. That was big AAA number team in those days.
Yeah, like if I remember correctly, like even Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Saturn, that had like a team of 30, 40, and that's
right.
Yeah, that was, and of course that was kind of a weird situation, because they were working on, if I remember correctly, they were working on both Panzer Dragoon 2 as well as Saga, so they were just kind of like going back and forth on that.
That's right. We were fully committed to Power. That's why I'm so glad to be revisiting it. And I'm not saying that as a blatant plug. I'm saying that because it's actually it's putting a hole back. It's filling it's putting standing over a hole in my life and having the opportunity to bring it back to you guys. Something that I wanted to do and something I was proud of. It's nice and great to be revisiting it, but it's still very painful at the time when you look back and you walk in and say, sorry guys, video pulled the plug and we're all going to be job hunting next week.
Well, to go toward a more positive note, how is now that you're working on this new power crystal for current gen platforms, how is that experience in comparison to when you first worked on it for the M2 so far?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, all we're using from the original power crystal is really map, the physical design of the world, etc., and just bring that into next gen focus with whole new quests and ideas and systems, etc. And it's incredible fun already. And I've got a new engine that we're licensing. Part of my business now is we're not just making games; we're making engines, which you guys will see announcements about shortly. We're working with IBM and Lego, various people, and it's going to be publicly licensed. Our new 3D engine, and people are liking it, which I'm really. So we're using our new 3D engine, Athena, to create the project, and it's incredible that within I think a week, 2 weeks of starting the project, we had a world you could walk around that actually looked like next gen technology world, because we have an engine to build it with. An internal engine, but say it would go public Q3, and we've seen rapid development. So this sounds really ridiculous, but it was actually true. That it was one of the guys in my team now, Nathan, had sent me a demo and said, "Look at this! I've got this dwarf moving through the landscape," and we saw this. I saw this dwarf just moving against his house in the landscape, and I was really emotional, and it was like, you know what I mean? It's like the project's come back home.
Yeah.
It was just that moment, 20 odd years now, 30 years later, here it is again. There's a dwarf, a next gen dwarf in a next gen landscape, but it's still that town that I designed all that time ago. It's still that map layout that I designed all that time ago. The topography of the world is still that same topography I designed all those years ago. It's incredible full circle, I guess.
Wow. It's and what you were saying about Athena, of course, that's going to have a lot of different applications beyond just AI. I read a little bit about it, how you have military applications, architectural rendering, video games, NASA planetary mapping, movie and television animation.
It's a 3D system. It's a whole new way of rendering that hasn't been done before, and this isn't BS because we've had people like IBM do the due diligence as part of the funding for this. So we've had some of the best techie people in the world coming having a look and saying, actually, yeah, it does work. So we created a 3D engine and a whole new AI system that they work as supporting products to each other. So you could go out and use Athena 3D engine or Athena AI or use both. And when you put them both together, they both complement each other. And that I guess is part of the culmination of my career, in that I spent most of my life being known for AI and 3D. That's my two specialities. So I thought, you think of the AI, with GoldenEye and AVP and all the rest of it, and the 3D engines I've done in the past, and it made sense to me. I thought, hang on a minute, why don't I create a really high quality standalone 3D system and a really high quality AI system that's really optimized, pushes boundaries, does whole new ideas that haven't been done before, which sounds like a tall order, but I spent the last 5 years full time doing it, actually full time, and we got there, and it works for my products, and we showed it to IBM and Lego were using it for. I can't discuss what Lego are using it for; it's an NDA thing, but Lego got involved, and I had people like the head of IBM Europe and Lego come to me saying, why aren't you licensing this? why isn't this a business in its own right? I'm like, no, it's because it's my engine. It's like, no, it shouldn't be your engine. It should be the world's engine, The grandiose statements, And we took it to various people, we being myself and my team, and we've got the big publishers and lots of people very excited. We're finalising venture capital right now to create offices around the world, literally around the world, to launch this and to license it right across industry, from the gaming business to, as you say, to the NASA's and the Boeings, and all the rest of it. And that's so it sort of spawned out from being an engine of choice for me to use with my projects into people bashing me on the head with a stick, saying, "What the hell do you think you're doing? This isn't for you. This is for the world." And we now have a subset of our business, which is literally just going to be doing licensing Athena, sort of on the Unity type model, And then we're staffing up with sales and marketing and PR and all this sort of business for what I originally thought was going to be my engine. It's not going to take me away from games. I'm still going to be making games because my heart's in games. I love games. But it's nice to actually spawn this the Athena business, so to speak. That's going to take this technology right around the world into all sorts of different things. I met with a representative of Boeing in the US military, a guy called Colonel Doug Champagne. Now, if you ever want to interview somebody fascinating, it's not games related, but Doug was a response pilot on 9/11. He led the squadron of F-16 that responded on 9/11. He led that group that went after Flight 93.
Oh wow!
He's also the most decorated fighter pilot in most decorated living U.S. fighter pilot. He launched the first stealth strikes on Baghdad in the 91 war, the 2003 war. It was on the first mission. It's flown the A-10, F-16, and stealth aircraft and all sorts of things. So it's quite an incredible guy. He hasn't got a chest big enough for all his medals. And he was a lovely man. And he came here to see Athena from the point of view of pilot training, because he's a full colonel. He has his own squadrons. He trains pilots. He's a qualified F-16 instructor. He's actually got more hours in the F-16 than anybody else on the planet. I mean, incredible man. And he came down. I showed him what we could do with F-16 simulation, and I mocked up the F-16 running in the Athena engine and the landscape that he could fly over, and he said, "This is better than anything in the military." He said, "I can't tell you what we've got in the military because that's secret." He said, "But you're a long way ahead."
Well, I can definitely see the positives there, because one of the things I read about it was that, with Athena, it allows the creation of these like massive, detailed environments, but without slowdown. So
that's right. There's a whole new technology in there that allows you to create huge worlds and put huge amounts of detail in, roughly about 10 times the detail of a current 3D engine in the scene. So you've got 10 times more stuff in front of the camera without slowdown. But we can make that on an unlimited size world. And what many of your viewers, and if any of you are still awake, sorry guys, I've been talking too long, might remember that I was actually involved with Microsoft Flight Simulator as one of my other little sidelines. So I'd worked with the Microsoft Flight Simulator team for many years, and I'd created personally maybe 15 of the expansion packs. So I've sold like 20 million expansion packs or something for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or some ridiculous number that I coded and created myself, and that of course gave me that impetus for pushing 3D engines further forward, and that was part of where Athena came from, and why I started talking to the military and the Air Force about it, because I'd spent many years while still being on the board of various games companies and doing business meetings and all the rest of it. Still writing software for Microsoft Flight Simulator for the official expansion packs. The Microsoft branded, and the Dovetail Games was their UK people. It's branded packs, and of course that I thought I need to do a 3D engine to create the world for this, and that's how it all started. So that's why it's sort of linked into aircraft simulation and all sorts of things, and Microsoft Flight Simulator and the Power Crystal games. It's an intricate web, Andrew, of all these sort of things that came together, and we've been demoing it to people now. I'll show you a demo privately. Sorry, guys, until I'm allowed to do it publicly. And it's just come together, and I'm hoping that the big publishers are all getting excited about it, and I'm hoping it changes the face of some of the games that are out there now. It's not. I don't want to sound like some egotistical moron saying that. But I genuinely believe it can change a lot of what we're doing, certainly on the gaming side now.
But no, I don't think that's. I don't think it's egotistical to want to make things better. And if you
That's all I've done all my career, to be honest. I'm always pushing for the next thing. If you look at my career and all the games I've done, I think it's 28 titles. Now, of those 28 titles, I think there's only 2 that didn't make the top 10 charts. And I think the reason for that was because I always want to be different. I've always wanted to lead the pack and not follow the pack. So you've seen that in AVP, etc. For its time. I've always wanted to be the one who brought in the new technology or the new gameplay idea. I've never wanted to be a follower because that's just not me.
It's good for people that can do it. Yeah, and speaking as a follower, because I feel that's where I stand. It's important to have good, strong leaders that can create new and exciting things that will make it possible to do so much more than what we could before.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly it.
Yeah, and the great thing too about this is that it has more than just one application. This isn't just for video games. It's also for training and potentially, who knows, terraforming.
Right, exactly. I mean, we even took it to some of the movie studios, and they did testing their CGI for generating each frame at a render farm. We cut that down by a factor of 12 or something on some of these CGI renders. Because even the way it presents the scene for frame by frame CGI rendering was increased exponentially. It just so much quicker to render for those guys.
I remember hearing back in, well, not even the old days. I mean, it's not old, but even just going back to The Matrix Reloaded, just having to render, like, especially the great big fight sequence between Neo and the numerous Agent Smiths. That took a considerable amount of time just to render that sequence.
That's right.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah, so if there's something here that can probably save people some sleepless nights waiting for for these sequences to...
Absolutely. The bottom line too for the corporate bean counters, it saves them a lot of cash, and cash talks.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that won't hurt anybody. It's like, oh, we get to save some money. Okay, well,
yeah. But I'm hoping that we see people running with the torch and doing things that I never thought possible with this system. We're committing a team to constantly updating it as well. So it's been unpopular with a major team who's going to work with me and keep advancing it based on requests from the movie companies and the games companies. So I think it's going to be exciting days.
Oh, it's kind of overwhelming to imagine the future at this point.
I try not to. I get up in the morning. I think, what do I have to do to? And I try not thinking too far forward. I get myself too excited. So I try and keep myself grounded on who I'm meeting today and what code do I have to write. Because then just take it step by step every day. And I guess that's been the story of my career. I mean, that's in some ways being a Siamese twin and having all these surgeries has actually kept me grounded. I think because you can't get carried away with yourself. You're thinking, what do I do today? How do I even do this? How do I make this happen that other people take for granted? So I think it's sort of kept me focused, if you see what I mean.
Yes, I think I do. But forgive me if I sound a little lethargic. I'm sleep deprivation.
Well, see, I've put you to sleep. I told you. See,
No.
Yeah. And anybody who gets this far listening to the interview gets the special longevity award.
Yeah, you'll hear a little ding. Yep, there's the achievement. No, actually, it's only because the conversation has been exciting to me because I'm just learning so much. But it's just I've been up since 11 a.m. So yesterday. So it was, it's, and I worked. I closed the bakery last night, so that was my work. So,
You see,
but
there you are.
hmm?
Something like that. I've never done anything apart from make games. I can't. If I want to go and cook something in the kitchen, I have to Google it.
Hey, if it hadn't been for other brilliant people, like I didn't really take up much of an interest in cooking until I saw things that kind of excited me, like seeing Eggy in the Basket for the first time in V for Vendetta. That got me kind of interested in cooking, which excited my mom because she's a fantastic cook, and have me
Wow.
kind of take up an interest. It's just like, oh well, yeah, this is the best cooking egg. I mean, if you want it sunny side up, you do this. And so I'm like, oh okay, and then she
See,
was
way beyond me already.
yeah, and she was like, "Do you know how Egg in the Basket came about?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she'll, but and then later,
In the history of culinary delights.
oh yeah, no, oh no, Mom loves cooking, and
Wow.
oh no, it's always
So
funny.
why aren't I at her house doing this interview? Then was something wrong here. I'm sat here with a packet of potato chips.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a bag of crisps.
Hey, that's very British of you.
Hey, I'm an Anglophile. I watch a lot of BBC.
Sorry, I know I'll have to do a quick wrap up for now because I've got to take her to the bath and.
Hey, we can always do another interview at a later time. We can expand, just chit
No
chat, wrap some
problem.
stuff.
Well, I can call you back in an hour or so if you're still up.
I'm probably going to be dead to the world.
Okay, go and get some sleep then. We'll do a wrap up next time you're free, and then you can edit it in.
Oh no, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. This will be our first installment. We can always come back. but
No problem.
but thank you again so much for your time, and you have a wonderful day. It's been a real honor, sir.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been so nice to go back over my history, and it's just been an incredible experience to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Likewise, thank you so much. You have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.